Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Kiki Show. Woo! Yay! Oh my god! We missed you so much. Why were you gone? Oh my god. Yeah, I was gone for about 2 weeks. The first week was because I was actually on vacation. I went out of state to go visit my boyfriend. And the second week was because I got sick. So I was sure you guys didn't want to hear me coughing and just generally dying on audio. Unless you're into that, then I can totally do that. I mean, I'll do whatever you guys want me to do. I'm die hard for my fans. But yeah, sorry guys, I've been missing for a little bit. I also was trying to figure out a good topic for today's episode, and I think you guys might like this one. It's all about personality and personality tests. I don't have multiple personalities. I just want to put that out there. I was just trying to think of a funny thumbnail, so if you guys clicked on it being like, what the hell is she talking about? Don't worry, don't have multiple personalities. So today we're going to be talking about multiple personality quizzes. I probably should have been more clear in the thumbnail. But I wanted to get something that was a little eye-catching for the audience. And what's happening? Hello? Oh my god. What's happening? Huh. Is this live? OMG. Surprise! Welcome to the first ever video recorded episode. Yes! Oh my god. I know it was a long time coming, but we're finally here. How do we feel? How does it feel to see me on the screen? I feel a little bit naked almost, like you guys are stepping into my personal space, but you know what? C'est la vie. Yes, this is the first official video recorded episode. So excited. It kind of took me a minute to get here. I had to buy a microphone that I'm holding by hand because it's too short. I hate it. It's so small. So I've been grabbing random things to try and stack it up, but I also feel like it's just covering a majority of my body. Body dysmorphia, who? Imagine if I was the size of this mic. Ooh, skinny. But I'm so glad that we finally got around. Me. It's just me over here. It's a one-woman show. Finally excited to get around to actually recording an episode. I know some of you guys have been kind of bitching at me to do it. Well, it's happened. So there you go. Stop bitching. Stop complaining. You finally got what you wanted. Is there anything else? Need me to do a little while I'm at it, huh? Yeah, that's what I thought. That's another good thing. I can make gestures now and I don't have to say anything. Now, before we get started with the video, I would like to thank today's sponsors. No, I'm just kidding. There is no sponsors. No one watches this except for you. And if you do, I love you so much. Love you, Pookie. No, I actually wanted to start today's video not about personalities, but about books. Ooh, yeah, I know it's really boring. I have a couple of books from the library, some that I bought and some that I borrowed from friends. And I just wanted to show them to you guys because I'm so excited. I love to read. Also, as of today's recording, I have officially reached my reading goal. Yeah, yes, I know. 10 out of 10 books. Can you believe it? Before April. I actually finished it about a week ago. But I haven't recorded an episode since then, so we're going to go ahead and pretend like it's a brand new thing to me. But yes, I have officially reached 10 out of 10 books. So proud of myself. I didn't think I would get to it this early on in the year, but here we are. Did I procrastinate on a lot of things in order to read books? I did. What are you going to do about it? The first book is I Who Have Never Known Women by Jacqueline Hartman. So this is actually a part of my book club's book. It's the one that I chose. It wasn't rigged. We spun a wheel. It wasn't rigged, but it was the book that I chose this month. And I am so excited to read it. If you guys are interested in anything dystopian, anything about whether or not women have rights over their bodies, highly recommend reading it. It's giving The Handmaid's Tale minus the whole using them for breeding. The next book we have is Of Mice and Men by John Steinbeck. I know, there's a lot of controversies with the man, but he has written a couple of bangers, and Of Mice and Men happens to be the smallest of bangers. So I decided to read it because I feel like it would be a good introduction into like his writing style. The next one, you guys aren't ready for this one. I'm so freaking excited. We got Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, a Hunger Games novel. Just came out March 18th. I'm still actually technically on Mockingjay, but I'm still going to read it while I'm reading Mockingjay because, I've already read the first 3 books. It's not like I don't know anything that's going to happen, and I know exactly what's going to happen in this book. Everyone dies except for Haymitch. So there really are no spoilers for me. So I'm going to go ahead and start reading it because it is a borrowed book, and my friend said that she wants to sit back after I finish it because she wants to go ahead and reread it. So I'm going to try and finish it as soon as possible. But I'm so freaking excited. I saw everyone crying at the end of this book. Kind of nervous if I'm going to cry or not. Next one we have is Homegoing by Yaa Gyasi. Please tell me if whether or not I pronounced that correctly. But this book is essentially about 2 sisters who lived in Ghana way back, like way before slavery happened. And it just so happens that one of the sisters is taken and sold into slavery in the United States. So it follows both of these sisters' families through the generations all the way down to modern day. I have one of the sisters whose descendants actually go through tons of warfare in Ghana over the centuries that they stay there up to modern day, while the other sister who was sold into slavery follows her family starting from her arriving to America all the way down to modern day America, where slavery is no longer allowed. I'm really interested to see how this book goes. It's actually, without me knowing, been on my TBR for, oh my god, a very long time. I think since it came out. I read a snippet of it on Tumblr years and years ago, and once I read it, I was like, I have to read this book. Didn't get my hands on it until today, which like almost 10 years later, I think. So I'm really excited to read that one. I'll let you know how it goes. One's kind of a doozy. It is Crime and Punishment. Yeah, that book. Yeah, I'm going to be that girl who reads Crime and Punishment. I'm a little intimidated. I won't lie to you. This is a pretty thick girl. I've read thick books before, but none with the topic that this book discusses, if that makes sense. Because it follows a student in St. Petersburg back in, I believe, the 18th century who thinks of himself as higher up than those, better than others around him. So he decides that he's going to go ahead and commit a bunch of crimes, including murder, and he doesn't think he's going to get caught. So I'm pretty excited to see how this book goes. My brother and I mentioned reading it together, but since he's starting to get into reading, I felt like this would be a little bit harder for him to get into than it would be for me, someone who's read a lot of different types of books. But I'll let you know how this one goes and how long it takes me to read it, because like I said, it's a pretty thick book. I decided to make a little makeshift stand out of the books that I currently have, so that way I'm hands-free. This is a hands-free podcast. We use these hands for other things, if you know what I mean. As I said earlier, this podcast is about personalities, multiple personality types. I put multiple personalities in the thumbnail so that way I can get people to click on it because they think, oh my god, this girl has multiple personalities. No, I have one as far as I'm concerned. I only have one. But I'm actually going to be talking about multiple personality types. So we're talking stuff like the Myers-Briggs, where you got all these different types like the ENFJ, INFP, all that sorts of stuff. The Enneagrams, which is like type 1, type 2, type 3, all the way up to, I think, type 9. And then we got like the silly little personality types like, what is your Hogwarts house? What kind of wand would you have if you were in Hogwarts? Are you gay? Those kinds of questions. Basically BuzzFeed quizzes. What kind of animal are you? What color represents your aura? Basically those kinds of personality tests that kind of gives you your personality type. And we're also going to be talking about my homemade personality types. That's right. You don't need a psychology degree in order to figure out who people are or to make up stuff about people you don't know. I've done it before and I'll do it again. So let's get started. So the first one we're going to be talking about is the Myers-Briggs Type Indicator, or the MBTI. It is a self-reported questionnaire that categorizes people into 16 personality types. Now, I've taken this test before many times, and I have generally gotten the same thing. So for this test, you basically answer a bunch of questions, and it assigns you to a different letter that corresponds to a different personality type. For example, there's E for extroversion, I for introversion, S for sensing, N for intuition, T for thinking, F for feeling, J for judging, and P for perceiving. And what this test does is, after you answer all these questions, they assign one of these letters to your type. So for example, I've taken this test a couple of times and I've gotten ENFJ every time. So ENFJ stands for extroversion, intuition, feeling, and judging. And these personality types also have an archetype attached to it. So for example, my archetype is considered the protagonist, which means that, I am the main character. This is my world and you're just living in it. But according to Myers-Briggs, it means that I'm charismatic, an aspiring leader, and I can get those to listen to me because everyone loves to hear what I have to say, hence why I have a podcast. So now you know that there's always a method to my madness. I don't do anything just for fun. I always have a reason to do it. FYI. The only bad thing about this personality type, not a real scientifically developed personality test. It more so just takes whatever answers you give them and puts you into a basic box. But at the same time, everyone can kind of relate a little bit to each and every personality. So it's like that test where you have 100 people and you give all these 100 people a card. And on that card, it has different descriptions as to who they are as a person. It'll say things like, you get really stressed out in stressful situations. Or you love to relax and have fun. Or you can get serious when you need to. All of these things can typically apply to just about anyone. So once you give these cards to these 100 participants, they all read it and they think to themselves, that's so me. Because it is you. It's a vague description of yourself and just about everyone on this planet. And that's kind of how the Myers-Briggs test works. It takes a lot of these vague descriptions about people in general and try to apply it to you and put you in a box. That's why a lot of psychologists actually don't recommend taking the Myers-Briggs test in order to figure out your personality type. There's a bunch of other tests you can take, such as the Big Five or the Enneagram. So I've actually have also taken the Enneagram test before, and I got personality type 9, which is nothing like the MBTI test that I had taken, the ENFJ, because personality type 9, I have it right here on my phone, is the easygoing, self-effacing type, receptive, reassuring, agreeable, and complacent. And I feel like usually if you're a leader, you are not super complacent. You tend to be the one who is actually calling out others on their BS. But I am known to be non-confrontational, and I am known to be complacent in things that don't matter. Obviously, if I see something crazy like someone being racist, I'm gonna call that shit out. But if it's someone like being a little dumb, I'm just gonna be like, whatever, just let it go by. But the Enneagram test is kind of similar to the MBTI test because it does ask you a bunch of questions and categorizes you into one of these personality types. It is considered a bit more scientifically backed than the MBTI test. So if you're interested in taking it, I highly recommend doing it. It was super fun and it was interesting to see what I got. Also, fun fact, the band Sleeping at Last, great band, actually has an album called At Last Enneagram. And they have 9 songs dedicated to the 9 personality types. So mine obviously being the 9th personality type, my song is titled 9. Highly recommend looking into it. It's actually really interesting. And the backstory on how they created these songs is actually really interesting as well. The next personality type quizzes, type tests we have are the little fun ones that you'll find on BuzzFeed. These tests will usually be something like, what color is your aura? What animal represents your spirit? Are you gay? Different stuff like that. And like I said earlier, you also have the famous Harry Potter quiz that categorizes you into one of the Hogwarts houses. So for the Harry Potter test, I've taken it before, and I actually got that my house is Ravenclaw, which are like the smart, cunning, possibly neurodivergent house, which I thought was kind of accurate in a way. I thought I would get a little bit more like Hufflepuff, because I've been told before in the past that I act like a Hufflepuff. Again, never seen the movies, never read the books. I just go based on vibes. So to me, Hufflepuff are kind of like the dumbasses of the Hogwarts houses. So I was like, yeah, go ahead, throw me in Hufflepuff. I love me a good honey badger. But apparently not. Apparently I am a beautiful Ravenclaw. As for those BuzzFeed quizzes, I'm actually gonna go ahead and take a BuzzFeed quiz live. For me, it's live. For you, it's recorded live, so that way you guys can see in real time what I get. So this BuzzFeed quiz is, what is your animal? What kind of animal would you be? Let's get started. First up, choose your favorite hobby. Go to the park, explore nature, read, take naps, exercise, or swim. Personally, obviously, read. What do you like to eat the most? Salad, peanuts, chicken, tuna, veggies, fruit. I do like tuna. Also, some of these personality quizzes would be something dumb like, what is your favorite toy? A squeaky toy? Catnip? A bundle of hay? And it's like, obviously what kind of animals are going to go into that. So like the tuna one, that screams cat to me. What's your personality like? Funny, sassy, outgoing, brave, caring, friendly. I'm going to say funny. I think I'm funny. Do you guys think I'm funny? What type of personality would you like your pet to have? Caring, great hearing, playful, loves the outdoors, loves to cuddle, mean. Probably caring. Oh my God, I got a dog. You're playful and caring. Aw, that's so sweet. Yeah, that's just an example of the types of quizzes you can find online. They're usually fun and lighthearted, and you just answer a bunch of random questions, and they're like, yeah, I think you'd be a dog. Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. The last topic of today's episode is my homemade personality types. Yes, I know, I don't have a psychology degree. I've taken AP Psych, made a 5 on it. What do you know about that? So I think I'm qualified enough to make personality types. Now, the name of my personality types is the fruit basket. And that's because each of my personality types corresponds with a different fruit or fruits. So for example, one of my personality types is tropical. And now for me, when I think of tropical fruits, I think of mangoes, pineapples, guavas, passion fruits, that kind of stuff. Something that someone would say is like exotic. But each personality type does have an archetype. So for tropicals, to me, it is mangoes. I do have 5 other personality types. Besides tropicals, we have citruses, berries, stone fruits, melons, and tomatoes. I know where you're thinking, tomato is a fruit. I don't know why you made that face. I'll explain to you why. To me, tomato will never be a fruit. But I digress. Let's get started with the fun, easy one, tropicals. Like I said, tropicals are mangoes, pineapples, guavas, passion fruits, all these different exotic fruits that you'll usually find in like tropical islands, places that tend to have higher temperatures. Now, to me, these people scream fun. They're fun, they're funky, they're zany, they have tons of energy. They're also the types of people who like parallel play. Let me explain. These are the people that will call you in the middle of the day and be like, hey, what are you doing? Nothing. Why, what's up? Well, I have to go to the dentist, and then I have to get a pap smear, and then I have to go deliver some mail. And then afterwards, I was thinking about cooking dinner. Do you just want to come over and do all these things with me? Yeah, I guess why not? You know? These are the people that will invite you to every little shindig that they have going on, every tiny little thing that's happening on in their life. They want someone with them. They just want a buddy. Dare I say they're a little codependent? I dare say it. While these people are super fun to hang out with, typically your best friends, they also have a dark side. Ooh, spooky. It's not so much a dark side, more so just like at their worst. They typically are annoying. Sometimes they get a little overwhelming. Sometimes they're just in your face all the time, and they also don't know boundaries. And they're the type of person who like can't say no and hates it when you say no to them. There are also people that I have noticed tend to overcommit to different things. While I'm listing off these fruits, I want you guys to think about someone in your life who matches this description. Because for me, I love to look at people who I know in real life and see, oh, they're so a berry. Oh, they're so a tropical. They're definitely a citrus. And if you're bold enough to say it in the comments, tell me who you think they are. Oh my God, scandal. But all in all, to be real with you, the tropical girlies are your best friends. They are the ones that will be there for you through thick and thin, whether you like it or not. The next fruit we got are the citruses. These people tend to be super stylish, always on trend. They're on social media 24/7 and are also party girls. Like, they're down to throw ass. If you need some energy in a party, these are the girls you're going to want to call up because they are the life of the party. And in fact, they're actually the ones that light up a room when they enter it. That's something you hear in every single true crime documentary. And the day that someone says, I light up a room when I enter it, is a day they put a timestamp on when I die. So citrus girlies, fun. They're island girls, you know what I mean? They're super cool to hang out with. Now for citrus, I tend to think of oranges, grapefruits, lemons, sometimes limes, but the main archetype here is oranges. Now at their worst, citruses are very superficial, at least what I've noticed. And they're also the type of people who definitely looks at looks before personalities when trying to find someone. They like to play the whole, oh, I don't do that. I'm always for personality. But then you look at the people that they're into and they're usually huge douchebags, but they're actually kind of hot. I mean, hey, I don't blame you. And to me, citrus girlies are also almost like the mean girl. They're the girls who are like, no, I'm such a girl's girl. And yet at the same time, will say something kind of crazy about another girl that you know. They also tend to be very type B individuals. And by that I mean like they don't really follow a schedule. They're very much go with the flow. Like if you were to go on vacation with them, it would get pretty annoying because they won't want an itinerary. They're just like, we'll just wake up and see wherever the day leads us. Me personally, couldn't do it. Do any of you guys have a citrus girl in your life? Let me know. Next up, we got the berry. Now berries, you got blueberries, blackberries, strawberries, and raspberries. To me, the archetype on this one is blackberry. Now at their best, berry girls are usually, and I say girls, but I mean everyone. To me, a girl is anyone. You got the he, she, theys, gays, all that. You're a girl to me. But the berry girls are usually those who are funny and very confident. Not in a confident way as like, ooh, I'm a bad bitch and I can do anything, but confident in that they're very self-assured and they're almost like a weird girl. Like they have passed the peak of cringe mountain and they are in the valley of peace. Like they understand that you're going to do embarrassing things sometimes and that's okay. That's just life. Also, To me, berry girls tend to be a little neurodivergent. That's what I've noticed. Don't hit the messenger. I am also the creator. So I wonder if I could be killed in this situation. But these girls tend to be homebodies. They like to stay home. They tend to have more grandma activities or grandpa activities. So they're the types of people who like to go fishing or reading, or they like to go take walks and go on hikes. They're very much in the moment people. But at their worst, they can be very cynical. They're also kind of like know-it-alls. Like, they might not be the smartest person in the fruit basket, but they do act as if they are. So if you were to say something or like slip up, like if you were to be like, oh, it was Jessica Alba who was in Seven Heavens, you'd be like, actually, no, it was Jessica Biel. I can't believe you didn't know that. You know what I mean? Like that kind of person. They also tend to be very blunt. So these people are almost like no bullshitting type people. They set their boundaries and they're hardcore about it. And they will tell you how it is, even if it's like not warranted. So they're the types of people who are like, you look really fucking ugly today. Just telling you the truth, just trying to be honest here. And it's like, yeah, you're trying to be honest, but why did you have to hurt my feelings at the same time? That is a berry. The next one we have are stone fruits. To me, the type of fruits I think of are apricots, different types of like nectarines, plums, peaches, that sort of stuff. To me, the archetype on this one is apricots. Now, I have a love-hate relationship with stone fruit people. Because in reality, they are like the nicest people and they're genuinely nice. Like they're not being fake nice, if that makes sense. They're the type of people you want to call if there's a situation because you know they'll be able to handle it. They're also non-judgmental and also fairly smart. They're very clever. They are the kinds of people who have a lot of common sense. I've also noticed that these people tend to like a certain aesthetic. By that I mean they'll typically dress Western or very hippie, or they like the cottagecore vibe, that kind of thing. But they'll never be into stuff like clubbing, partying, anything like that. They're very much down-to-earth people, very humble. But they're also kind of boring. These people have nothing going on in their lives, like, ever. You text them and you're like, hey, like, what's new? Oh, I went to work. And then I went to the store to get groceries. And then I went home. And then I went to bed. You know, like their life is very, like they live a very plain life. But to them, that's the best life. So not a lot of judgment here, a little judgment, but not a lot of judgment. These people also are the worst storytellers you will ever meet in your life. By that I mean these girls will have something kind of crazy happen to them and blow it up as if it's the craziest thing that's ever happened in the entire world. For example, I one time had a friend who I consider a stone fruit be like, oh my God, the craziest thing happened to me the other day. I was like, what, girl? What happened? So I was at the store. Yeah. And when I was walking out of the store, yeah, I almost tripped. Okay, and then what happened? That was it. I just almost tripped. Like I could have broken a leg. You're so lying right now. You're so lying right now. That's the story. That's what you wanted to tell me. That's what you thought was so newsworthy. But then they're so nice, so you can't really be like, really? You know? They also tend to talk really slow, which also adds to them being bad storytellers. So another stone fruit that I know tends to talk kind of like this. Like, let's say you ask them something. Hey, what happened to you today? Well, I went to the store and then I bought some groceries. And they were actually pretty cheap. Like, oh my God, speed it up, speed it up. Like, I need you to talk a little bit faster. Love stone fruits. Love them, but also kind of hate them at the same time, you know? The next two fruits are actually newer additions to my fruit system. So I've been doing the whole fruit system for a couple of years now because I just think it's so much fun. And I love to go up to a cashier and be like, you're giving berry today. But on my past birthday, me and my friend Abby sat down and we're like, let's figure out some new fruits that we can throw into the fruit bowl, you know? And she came up with the melon. So for melons, we're talking about honeydews, watermelons, cantaloupes, that kind of stuff. Archetype, honeydew. So these people are almost perfect. Everyone wants to be them. And they give the appearance as if they have everything put together. Like you see them on social media, you see them in person, and you're like, they have the perfect job, the perfect car, the perfect spouse, like the perfect house. Ooh, that rhymes. Ooh, Dr. Seuss over here. But you know what I mean? They give off perfection. But here's the twist on melons. They're not perfect. No one is. They just look like they're perfect. To me, when they're at their worst, it's actually more towards themselves than it is towards others. By that I mean at their worst, they tend to be overachievers to the point where they get burnt out easily. They're also very hard on themselves. These people are akin to those who were like in gifted programs in elementary and middle school and then got burnt out by high school, and then by college they're just kind of like, I don't give a frick anymore, you know? But somehow, even through all that, they're like, you know, gotta get this bag, whatever. And they figured it out. And you're just like, that is so admirable. Melons also tend to be very introverted, and they don't have a lot of friends. I feel like they run very tight circles, and they don't allow a whole lot of newcomers to enter into their personal space. Melons are an interesting one. I'm still kind of developing the melon personality type, but let me know if you guys have any more descriptions for melons. Now, for the last fruit. We've got the tomatoes. Tomatoes are not a fruit. To me, a tomato is a vegetable. You think you're one of the gang? Nah, no. You can't even get into the club, bitch. You think you belong in a fruit salad? Fuck you. I know too many tomatoes in my life, and I recently just made someone in my life a tomato. These people, let me tell you about these tomatoes. They think everyone likes them. They're like, ugh, I'm just so perfect. Everyone wants to be my friend. I can do no wrong. If anyone says anything bad about me, they're the problem, not me. These bitches are the types of people to say that they can never keep a friend. They're like, oh, I never have so many friends. Like, I can never keep a friend. Wow, I wonder why. These people also like to think that they're a girl's girl. But when I say, as soon as one of the girls leaves, oh my God, did you see what she was wearing? She looks so fucking ugly in that outfit. I can't believe she thinks people will actually fall for her. I mean, these are some hateful people. The reason I call them tomatoes is because, boo, tomato, tomato. I just want to throw tomatoes at you because you're so fucking lame. You think you're better than everyone? You think everyone likes you? No, no one likes you. And in fact, people are starting to realize that. So open your eyes, Miss Tomato, and realize you're not a part of the fruit bowl. You belong next to the moldy celery. And that's all I got to say on tomatoes. If you know any tomatoes in your life, my condolences. But there you have it. That is my little fruit bowl. Let me know if you guys can actually relate to the fruits that I gave you. And what do you classify yourself as? So me personally, I think I do tend to lean more towards berry because I do think I'm funny. Duh. But also I can be very cynical, and I have been told I am very blunt to the point that it's actually rude. But I also see myself in other fruits. So with the fruits, you can actually make a little fruit salad and you can mix them together and you can get different types of mixes of personalities. So you can be a stone fruit, but also a tropical, or you can be a tomato. Actually, no, you can't be anything other than a tomato if you're a tomato. You're not allowed to mix with the fruit. Tomato is not a fruit. But everyone else can mix together. Sorry, I segregate when it comes to tomatoes. But let me know in the comments what you guys think you are. And if you have any other descriptors for these personality types, let me know in the comments because I love to expand on these personalities. But I do believe that is the end of the episode. That's all I have for you guys. I know, so sad. You wanted to see me a little bit longer. I know. But I promise I won't be gone for 2 weeks this time. I'll be back to my regularly scheduled podcasts. And I'll let you guys know if anything changes in the schedule. But for now, au revoir. I'll see you guys next time. Love you, Pookie.